Welcome to this Friday edition of TFLnow Live, and with me is my man Michael. Nice to have you here, Michael.
Nice to be here, dude. I've been off traveling the world for the past few days.
Yes, you've been in New York driving a Mercedes, but we'll get to that.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Let's talk about what we're talking about today, because we have a really interesting show. We're talking about buyer's remorse. We've got a list of the top 10 cars that get traded after just 1 year of ownership.
Not a long time to own a car.
Oh, that probably means that people aren't very happy with these cars. And it's an interesting list because you kind of want a car, and then you fall in love with a car, and then falling out of love with a car is very painful.
Yeah, on average, 1.5% of new cars are sold back after just 1 year of ownership. This list was put together by our friends over at EClass.com, who have done a lot of really cool top 10 lists for cars. They analyzed over 24 million new car sales over the past 2 years. So it was models between 2015 and 2017. So they found that this list of 10 different models are reselling, that is, at rates more than 2 times higher than the usual average of 1.5%. So, as is the case with used cars, buying something that's maybe a year old can usually actually save you a lot of money off of the brand new price, and you end up with something that's barely used, which is kind of nice. Yeah,
we're not just going to give you the cars, but we're going to give you how much they depreciate, so you know if this is a car that you might want to pick up on a bargain, and we'll give you the average price. We've got all the numbers for you. But before we get to that, Michael, what do we have for our viewers?
Well, guys, you can be a big part of this show and help us out by sponsoring the Super Chat. So we have a bunch of different things that you can get from doing that. So if you give us $5, we will write your name in one of these pens on the hood. It's called Welcome to the Hood. It's our way to thank you guys for your support. If you give us $10, we will give you one of these TFL truck stickers. You have to send us your shipping address at info@tflcar.com. $10 now gets you, $25, sorry, now gets you a patch. We have TFL car and TFL truck patches. I worked very hard to get these made.
You did, you worked very hard.
And then $50 will get you a hat, a TFL, what is it, professional trucker hat?
Yep, signed,
technical trucker hat.
Signed or unsigned?
Signed or unsigned, your choice. We have this black brim or the red brim. You get to choose, but we really appreciate your support, guys.
I hear we're running out of the red brims.
Yeah, they're going fast, so we might have to order more soon.
And since we're talking about cars that depreciate quickly and people get rid of them after 1 year, I've got some good news, actually.
What's that?
We bought this Land Rover Discovery as our ultimate TFL rescue rig, and we called it the rescue rig because we're not sure whether we'll be rescuing it or it'll be rescuing us.
Yeah, but now we might be a little bit more sure about which one that's leaning towards, though.
Yeah, we got a bill for about $9,000. That was our last show in repairs. But I took it to the Clean Air Colorado folks, which are the people who do the inspections to make sure that it passes emissions. And guess what?
What?
It passed emissions.
Well, hey, look at that. We are running clean, although maybe a ticking time bomb. Who knows?
Hey, guys, by the way, if you're watching this not live and you want to get to the top 10 cars, you can always just fast forward.
Yeah, it'll probably show up maybe 10 minutes into the show. We have some stuff to get through before that. But
yeah, because we always like to do the news.
Exactly.
And Mike, you got to drive some brand new cars in New York, so tell me about what happened when you went to Mercedes-Benz and New York.
Yeah, so I was in the Big Apple in New York. Mercedes had us out to Brooklyn. I was in this really cool hotel that was looking like right at the Brooklyn Bridge, and Mercedes had the brand new 2019 Mercedes-Benz EClass sedan. So this vehicle is a number of firsts for Mercedes-Benz. It's the first time the EClass has been brought to the United States, not to be confused with the CLS, that's a different vehicle. It's the first time the EClass has been made into a sedan. And it's the first Mercedes-Benz with a brand new user interface called MBUX, which is the Mercedes-Benz user experience. So
yeah, we never got the original A-Class, and it was a bit of well, it wasn't grand. It was a city car built for European cities.
Yeah, and of course that one's a hatchback.
Right, yeah.
Then they just never brought it here. But now we have this one. This will be coming here. I think it goes on sale later this year. And actually, I'm going to go to Seattle to drive it in September.
What do you think of it?
My first impressions, I really liked it. I gotta say, so one of my big complaints with Mercedes right now is that their infotainment system is horrible. It's really unpleasant to use. There's no touchscreen. It's this little scroll wheel.
Yeah, or a little like pad.
Or a little touchpad thing.
It's like they couldn't decide. Do we want a wheel or a pad?
So they just did both, and it's no good. This is a touchscreen, and it has natural voice recognition.
It's a new system.
It's a brand new system. It was shown off first at CES, the Consumer Electronics Show. in Las Vegas, and I got to play around with it for maybe 5-10 minutes. It's way better. It's a drastic improvement from the old system.
Yeah, I got to use it in the Sprinter. It actually came out in the Sprinter.
In Europe first.
In Europe, yeah. So I got to use it, and you go, "Hey Mercedes," and then it's like Siri, "Hey Mercedes, turn up the heat."
Yeah. So a lot of people on the video, I posted a video about the
On this channel
on TFLnow about the A-Class. A lot of people were wondering, what's the difference between this and the CLA class? And here's the biggest difference. It's the same chassis. So pretty much the same size vehicle, but the CLA is what Mercedes calls a four-door coupe. So it has 4 doors, but it has this sloping roof line that makes it look more like a coupe. So really the biggest difference functionally is that the A-Class sedan has a lot more headroom in the back seat.
You remember the days when just Mercedes had like the E-Class,
Yep.
the S-Class, the S, now we've got CLS, A-Class, it's
all over the
GLS,
place.
GLA. It's so confusing. And I was having a chat
bonkers.
with one of the Mercedes PR people, and they said it's simple. It's like the CLS is the S-Class of the GLS is the S-Class of the
GL,
I'm like, really?
It doesn't make it. It's really hard to follow.
Yeah. All right, and then you also got to drive a different car. What was that?
I got to drive a different car, which was the CLS Coupe.
Okay.
So the CLS Coupe originally came out in 2004, and this is actually the car that kind of originated that 4-door coupe body style. So I got to drive this. It has a really new engine and obviously very updated styling, but the engine is kind of the big story here. It's a turbocharged straight 6, not a V6 like a lot of Mercedes products now, and it has a 48-volt mild hybrid system. So in total, it makes 362 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. Just the engine, that's just the 6-cylinder. The e-boost function actually adds 21 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque on top of that 369 pound-foot of torque number.
And you're editing that video, or you were, right before the show.
I was. That'll post tomorrow. Actually.
Tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. Mountain Time, you can watch Mike's review.
A full review of the 2019 CLS Coupe.
Was it hard to review in New York? Every time I go to New York, there's no place to drive. It's really hard to review cars there.
So we started in Brooklyn, and then we went from Brooklyn, and we drove out to New Jersey. Leaving Brooklyn.
Brooklyn in the house, man.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was. I hadn't driven in New York before,
Yeah.
and that was a nightmare.
Michael's a Seattle boy, so.
I'm glad we didn't crash any presumably expensive Mercedes or anything like that.
About as far from New York as you can get.
Pretty much, yeah. But it's a nice car. That's what I'll say right now. It's a good car. I liked it.
362 horsepower.
It's fast.
That's fast, dude.
Buttery smooth. Maybe one of the smoothest cars to drive that I have
How many
ever
speed
driven.
transmission?
9-speed automatic.
9.
9.
Wow.
Which is very German sounding. 9.
9.
How many speeds? 9.
9, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And how does the mild hybrid system work? You know what? Watch the video.
Watch the video tomorrow, and you'll learn all about it.
All right. Well, I think it's time to get to our top 10 list of the most traded, sold cars in the first year of ownership. And let's start with number 10. Why don't you go?
Number 10. This one actually was kind of surprising to me. It's the Subaru WRX. So the average new price of a WRX is $32,634. And the first year resale rate is 3.3%, which you might be thinking, oh, that sounds like a really low number. But when you consider the average is only 1.5%, it resells in the first year pretty much twice as much as the average car in the U.S.
So 3.3% of people who buy it
sell it within
the
first year.
Why do you think that is?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
I have my suspicions.
Why do you guys think that is? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. We'll do some shout outs too. Yeah, because we'd love to get your opinion. Let's get these viewers and our friends and fans into this discussion.
Yeah, let us know why you think it resells. I don't know, maybe they tune it, they dump a bunch of mods into it and decide they don't like it after that and then decide they need to get out of it. I don't know.
Well, the average used price is $30,625, and the discount new versus old is 6.2%. So if you want to get into a WRX, wait a year and you can get a 6.2% discount on average.
That being said, I think there's other cars on this list that depreciate way more in the first year. So as far as those one-year-old bargains go, this might not be the car because that actually holds its value.
Well, I mean, the reason people buy a WRX is because maybe they want, a less expensive version, baby version of the STI. So you go and you're like, hey, I want the big boy STI, but that's very expensive.
Yeah, it can be like 45, 50.
So you get the WRX. And then, we haven't driven one recently, but I've spent my fair share of time behind the wheel of one.
Yeah.
And it's one of those cars that sometimes is better in the showroom than it is on the road.
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying? When you have to live with it, it's like any sports car, right?
It's really noisy.
They're compromises, yeah.
The Subaru has done a wonderful job.
Doesn't your roommate have one?
My roommate has, it's a 14, so it's the previous body style. Subaru did a wonderful job with the WRX of making a high-performance vehicle at a very low price point. That being said, you have to cut costs somewhere, so the money that they invested in the all-wheel drive system, the new engine, the transmission, all that stuff, they have to save that somewhere else. So from my perspective, Subarus usually end up being pretty noisy from a road noise perspective, a little less refined than something like what I drive, like a GTI.
Yeah, no, I don't know, I'm like twice your age, and I can tell you my wife would hate it, like with a passion.
Yeah, exactly.
But do, let's say, young ladies of your age like it? When you pull up in a Subaru, it kind of screams boy racer. Yeah, it kind of screams like you're in high school and you've got the biggest wing in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, are girls impressed by that? Have you found that young ladies of your age are like, wow, you've got a huge wing, or are they like, dude, I'm not going to get it?
There's like one of two reactions I found to my roommate's car. It's like, oh, that's really loud and obnoxious, or like they're just completely uninterested and it doesn't really matter. So
let's see what the commenter Stretton says the Evo was better.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Peck, Michael and Christina say the Subaru felt cheap and started falling apart after a year. I traded mine. There you go.
Yeah,
so,
pretty much.
Yeah, the interiors are kind of plasticky.
Yeah,
like you said, they do count.
My tool, Mittool.
Yeah,
WRX, because it has great resale value, so they drive it and then dump it rather than dealing with problems after a couple of years.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, you drive it for the warranted part.
Chad says head gaskets. Yeah, but not after a year.
Yeah, probably
unless
not
you're really
after a
modding it and just really hooting it.
You're on warranty, so probably not. Yeah, who knows?
And then PLZ blah 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 801 says love WRX, but they don't sound like the old ones.
No, that 2-liter, going from the 2.5 to the 2-liter, you lose the unequal length headers, and it doesn't have quite the same Subaru Boxer rumble as the previous engine did.
All right, number 9. What's number 9?
Number 9 is the Chrysler 200. Average new price of $25,132. Should clarify, this car is no longer on sale, and I don't miss it, to be honest. The first year resale rate, it was 3.8%, so that's about how many people, or what percentage of people that bought one new sold it within a year, and it's 2.5 times higher than the average. The average used price, $17,624, which is a discount of basically 30% if you waited 1 year, about a 1-year-old one.
Yeah, I think these numbers also point to the fact that the car's life expectancy
is 3 years.
Isn't very great because the 200 isn't around. Of course, so Chrysler had the 200, which was a pretty horrible big sedan.
So bad.
And then they rebooted it. And it was a mid-size sedan, which meant that it competed with the Accord, the Camry, the Mazda 6. You can go down that list.
And everything you just said was like so much better than
Fusion,
the Chrysler 200.
Very competitive segment.
Yeah.
And I look at that mid-size car segment, which used to be the most popular segment, and probably still is in America, the Camry and Accord. And you have to bring it, man. You got to really bring something unique.
You can't half-ass that one.
So if you're in that mid-size segment, right, and you want the most reliable car, what do you get? I'm going to ask you guys questions. You guys, if you want the most reliable car, what do you get?
Honda.
Camry. All right, let's keep going. All right, if you want the sexiest car in that segment, what do you get?
Mazda.
Exactly, a Mazda 6, all right. If you want the car with the most backseat room, what car do you get?
Passat.
Very good, the Passat.
It's a Passat.
All right, if you want the car that is all-wheel drive for inclement weather, what's the one you get?
Ooh.
Which one's all-wheel drive?
Oh, that's such a good question. Oh, I can't.
Zach, do you know?
Zach, do you know?
Which one in the mid-size segment?
Mid-size, all-wheel drive?
There were 2 of them.
I know the Ultima will be.
There were 2 of them in that segment. If you want most value,
goodness.
Ultima, Zach's Ultima. Anybody got it yet? Nobody's got it? No, nobody's.
All-wheel drive, mid-size sedan?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Charger?
No.
Oh, it's a mid-size sedan.
Yeah, Charger's the next size up.
That would have been one.
Charger's the full size.
So what is it?
Well, it would have been this car because you could have gotten it in an all-wheel drive.
Oh, there you go.
But the real answer is the Fusion. You can get the Fusion in all-wheel drive.
Oh, okay, the Fusion.
There you go.
You know what's interesting?
And the Legacy. Very good. Hey, Teddy, Legacy as well.
Is true.
Yeah.
You can definitely get that in all-wheel drive. The Chrysler 200, we should take another moment to say rest in peace, Sergio Marchionne. This was actually one of the first things he did for Fiat Chrysler. Or one of the big things he did was he came in, he saw the Dart and the Chrysler 200 were really struggling, and he said,
Wait. There was no Dart. So he brought the Dart back.
Oh yeah, he
Yeah.
brought it back and then realized it was terrible and then got rid of it. But
The
Yeah.
commenters mentioned Subaru Legacy, and I always forget about. I should have thought that.
yeah,
I
the
always
Legacy
forget
is
about
a
that.
Yeah,
Legacy
Jack
is
forgot
a
about
good
the
one.
Legacy as well. But anyway, the thing about these mid-size sedans is you had to have something unique and interesting in that segment, right?
Yeah.
And the only thing that the Chrysler had going for it was that it was all-wheel drive. Really, it was kind of small.
Yeah.
But then the Legacy and the Fusion were also all-wheel drive.
Right, which-
So, all right, number 8, please.
Number 8 is the Mercedes-Benz E-Class. Speaking of
Get
Mercedes.
out, really, the E-Class.
Yeah, the
Who would've
E-Class.
thought?
I know. So average new price. Oh, go ahead.
The average big boy, like
Yeah, the go-to German
taxi cab.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So average new price $64,742. So we're getting up there in price.
Wow.
The first year resale rate is almost 4%, 3.9% first year resale rate.
So 4 out of 100 people.
Just ditch it after a year. Average used price is $52,267. So it's a discount versus new of almost 20%. So if you're looking for a Mercedes-Benz E-Class and you want a 20% discount, buy a 1-year-old one.
Yeah, and you know, the Mercedes E-Class is an interesting vehicle. It's one of those just right kind of vehicles that people think
Yeah.
when they buy it, right? It's not too big, S-Class, it's not too small, C-Class.
Yep.
But then when you get into it, it's also a little vanilla toast.
It's
right?
very vanilla toast.
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually the CLS Coupe that I was just driving in Brooklyn shared a chassis with the E-Class. And I was thinking to myself, you know, like, what separates, why would I buy the C-Class over the E-Class? And it really is kind of that vanillaness of the E-Class. The CLS is kind of the sexy, stylish alternative that just has a, you know, different looking roofline, basically.
Yeah, and you know, the E-Class is one of those sedans that comes in, like you said, many different flavors. But it does have terrible resale value.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like in Europe. In Europe, I think it has a better reputation.
Yeah, probably.
But here, you know, it's the car also that people lease. They have these, you know, discount lease rates. So a lot of them come back on the market, and I think that also has to do with why these prices are so low. It has, you know, how many they build and how many come back on the market off of lease. And I know a lot of people who don't buy the E-Class who lease it as a work vehicle or lease
Yeah.
it for their family.
Well,
All right.
because if you did buy it, you'd probably eat a lot of the resale value drop that does happen. Whereas leasing it, you don't get hit by that resale drop so much.
All right, number 7 is really surprising.
Yeah, it's the BMW 4 Series.
Really?
So another German sort of mid-sized car. The average new price is $54,610, and the first year resale rate, again, almost 4%. It's 3.9%. Which is basically the same as the E-Class. The average used price, $45,152. So a little bit less of a discount versus new on the 4 Series, but it is quite curious that people get out of their 4 Series so quickly after buying one.
Yeah, I think I get that. I mean, if you get the 3 Series, which is BMW's most popular car, then you've got 4 doors, you've got a lot of room, and there's a lot of compromises in the 4 Series, right? So
Yeah.
you're basically getting a sexier 3 Series,
Yep.
but you're also getting the fact that you can't get in the back seat, you can't use it to, like, you know, drive your big dog around or your parents
Yeah.
around.
It has the looks, but none of the practicality.
Yeah, and you know, we're not talking about the M4. We're just talking about the straight up
4 Series,
The 4
yeah.
Series, yeah. And let's face it, there's so many choices now with like these crazy like 4-door coupes, which means that there are a lot of cars now that have that coupe shape,
Yeah.
right? And they have 4 doors.
Yeah.
So you can get the practicality of a 4-door without necessarily getting, I mean, you can get the practicality of a 4-door and the styling of a 4-door without necessarily going down the road of having to actually have a 2-door.
Yeah, cars in that segment, the CLS, like
Yeah.
we talked about, the CLA, which is the small one, the Audi A7 or the A5 Sportback, the Porsche Panamera, and the BMW, they have the 6 Series Grand Coupe, or Grand Coupe, whichever you want to call it.
Yeah, Matul says, guessing people realize they're paying more and getting less than the 3 Series.
Yeah,
And
pretty much.
That's
That's
absolutely
well
true.
said.
All right, let's keep going. Number 6, Michael.
Number 6 is another BMW. It's the BMW X3. So the average new price.
Have you noticed there's a theme going with my shirt here?
Yeah, there are a lot of German cars on this list, aren't there? I
Let me get this. You're buzzing a little bit.
My mic's no good.
You're
Oh, I'm
hitting
sorry.
your.
Oh,
There you go.
gosh.
You're,
Okay.
you're hitting every time you turn your head. You're hitting it.
Oh
So
gosh,
now we're
that's
good.
no good. Okay.
All right. So yeah. So BMW X3.
Yeah, the average new price on an X3 is $50,115. First year resale rate, once again, 3.9%. And the average used price is $43,731. So it's a 12.7% discount from new if you buy a 1-year-old.
And there's a brand new X3 that just came out.
Yep.
It's bigger, it's more useful, it's more, I think it's sexier actually than the old one.
Yeah.
And you know, that's another one of those cars that is very popular in BMW's lineup, right? All crossovers are very popular.
Yep.
But you know, it's kind of, once again, it's like the E-Class. It's a little bit...
kind of bland. You know what isn't bland, though?
Yeah.
That X3 M40i that we had maybe 2 weeks ago,
Yep.
that I did the taco test with, that was a really, it's a BMW straight six, and it has different exhaust settings depending on what driving mode you're in. And you put it in like Sport Plus mode, and you'll like rev up, and then it just dumps throttle into the exhaust when you're letting off the gas, so it just pops and crackles, and it's like easily the most exciting crossover I've ever driven.
Yeah, it's good.
It was really fun, actually.
And by the way, guys, if you want one of our hats, once again, you know, you can sponsor this chat, help us
Keep bringing you a lot of cool videos.
Yeah, help us, you know, keep making these daily videos as well as all our reviews, and hopefully keeping you guys up to date on what's happening in the car world. All right, number 5, once again, you mentioned it already.
I did, yeah.
It's a car that's gone.
It's the Dodge Dart. Rest in peace to the Dodge Dart. It's no longer on sale. The average new price was $20,649, and the first year resale rate was, once again, 3.9%. The average used price, this is a big drop, $14,988. So basically 15 grand if you bought it a year old, which is a discount of 27.5%.
Yeah, I got completely snookered by that car. When it first came out, I went to the guys at Dodge, and they said, "Oh yeah, we're taking an Alfa Romeo, and we're rebranding it as a Dodge." I was like, "Cool."
Yeah, nice.
And what's the Alfa Romeo? It's not the Giulia. It's the
Giulietta.
Giulietta. Yeah, they told me they were taking a Giulietta, and they were going to bring it. I'm like, "Wow, we're going to get a Alfa Romeo with the Dodge, right?"
Yeah.
And what we got was the Dart.
It's
All right. I mean, the Dart was. The
Chad says the Dodge fart.
Yeah. I mean, when I saw the name, I was like, really, the Dart?
Yeah,
You know, the Dart had a kind of a mixed reputation when it was out. My best friend when I was growing up went through like 14 Darts because they were pretty disposable. Yeah. He went to MIT and they kept stealing them.
Oh.
I don't know why he would steal a Dart, but they did.
Yeah.
But so he went through a lot of Darts, and they were fine. You know, they were just like kind of these kind of sedans you'd buy.
Yeah.
There were some that had bigger engines. Those were, you know, the Duster. Yeah. Those were a little bit better, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a glorious name that you bring back. Hey guys, give us like a classic name that you'd love to see brought back.
Yeah, tell us.
And don't say Blazer because we know where that went.
No, that's already happened and it didn't go so hot.
No.
You know, at this price, as cheap as the Dart is to buy used, someone needs to do like a Top Gear style challenge and buy like 15 Dodge Darts, get a big ramp and paint a giant dartboard in like a big gravel pit or whatever, and use darts for car darts.
We could do that, but I suspect we need a lot more.
We need some donations. We need some donations if we wanted to do that.
So a lot more patches.
So guys, if you want to see us play a game of darts with a bunch of Dodge Darts, you can donate in the super chat.
Yeah, I think we need about 10,000. Anybody want to donate $10,000?
$10,000, we can make that happen.
You could probably get like 3 darts for that.
Yeah, we can make that. We can make
3 or 4 darts. All right, number 4, Mike.
Number 4 is the Nissan Versa Note. So the theme with this list is that it's either like kind of expensive German cars or something that's really not a good car, and then like the Subaru WRX.
Well, this is a Nissan Versa Note, not the Nissan Versa.
Not the Versa, the Versa Note.
The Versa is not a hatchback, it's a sedan.
Right.
And for a while there, I think it was the least expensive car you could buy in America.
Yeah,
they were like 12 to 13,000. But the Note is not the least expensive car. It's actually 16,600. What's the resale?
The resale is 4% of people that buy a Versa Note resell it after or within the first year. And the average used price is $13,256, so a discount of about 20% versus new.
Yeah, and why do you think that is? What do you guys think that the Versa Note is so unloved in the first year?
Yeah, maybe people, I don't know, when you make a car
Could it be
then...
a CVT?
It has to be CVT. That's got to be one thing. I don't know. When you buy a car for $16,000.
Hey, dude, I had like an epiphany about CVTs.
What's that?
So we have this new channel called TFL Off-Road.
We sure do.
And we'd love you guys to come and subscribe to it.
Yeah, please.
We're actually publishing a really fun video on Saturday where you guys went to the dunes and drag raced. What was it? An ATV versus a side-by-side.
It's a Honda versus Honda drag race.
Yeah.
So we had a TRX 250 quad, I believe it was a 420cc quad.
Yeah.
And then Kent's personal, they're all Kent's vehicles actually. And then Kent's side-by-side, which was, I forget, like a...
It was the slowest drag race in the world in the sand.
Yeah, it was pretty slow.
It's really funny, actually.
Andre muffed the first start. Like, Nathan and Kent took off, and Andre's just sitting there like,
so it'll be up, that drag race will be up on TFL Off-Road, and if you want to check out that channel, it's TFL Off-Road, one word. People keep looking for it, and they put TFL, and they put a space in Off-Road, but it's not.
No
It's
space.
just go to YouTube, put TFL Off-Road, you'll find it. And tomorrow morning, we're going to publish that drag race of the 3 interesting Honda vehicles. But I've always wondered, like on a CVT in a side-by-side or a snowmobile, right, or an ATV, it doesn't really bug me, but I hate them in cars. And I was wondering, why is that? And then I was actually talking to some people who do a lot of off-roading.
Yeah.
And they said the reason that CVTs work in, like, let's say, ATV or snowmobile is that you're never at the same speed. Right, in a car, you're going down the highway at, let's say, 55, 65.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
That's a really good point.
And that CVT is like droning
on at the same.
Whereas if you're in a snowmobile, you're speeding up, you're slowing down, right?
Yeah,
Same thing with an ATV, and so you don't get that kind of.
No, it's like. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. Yeah. Interestingly, none of the vehicles in that drag race have a CVT.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Malifestro, thank you for subscribing to all of our channels. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for
thank you,
watching.
dude. Yeah.
Stephen Elmer is kind of front-running the TFL Off-Road channel. He's one of our new guys. He's awesome.
And congrats to Steven. He's just had a little boy.
Oh, I was gonna ask
Otis
him.
Elmer. There's a new
Otis.
There's a new Elmer in the world. Otis Elmer.
Oh.
So he's taking the week off to be with his lovely wife.
Congratulations to him and his wife, and welcome to the world, Otis. That's so fantastic.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Otis is great. All right, number 3. Let's get to the top 3 before we run out of time.
Number 3, Mercedes-Benz. Once again, it's the C-Class.
Polizei. Herr Kommissar.
Yeah. It's average new price $49,042. First year resale rate, it's getting up here now. 6.1% of C-Class owners resell it within the first year. The average used price $39,406. So a discount of about 20% if you buy a 1-year-old one.
Yeah, I think the reason for that is, and the reason for the next 2 as well, is people are enamored by German vehicles.
Yep.
And they get into them, and maybe they find that the promise is better than the reality.
It could be.
Especially the C-Class, because the C-Class makes a lot of promises, right? It's entry level. Well, it used to be the entry level Mercedes, and so it's the one that the salesman's going to try to
push you toward.
And then there's this magic in German vehicles, right? Mm-hmm. And then when you get behind the wheel and you drive to work.
Yeah, it's wonderful to drive, but maybe it's a little boring.
Nah, it's just a car. At the end of the day, right? You're not on the Autobahn in America, at least.
German cars, I think, like if you get one, Germans do performance cars really well because they over-engineer everything, right? But if you over-engineer a commuter vehicle,
I'm not sure they're over-engineered. I just think that German cars are set up to go on the Autobahn.
Yeah.
And we don't have Autobahn. So, a C-Class is rock solid at 100 miles an hour, and it's really fun to drive. Yeah. But you don't drive a C-Class here at 100 miles an hour.
No, you drive it at like 25 through a city.
Yeah, exactly. And so a lot of that engineering that goes into these German vehicles obviously is more potential than reality.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
The next 2 actually are also German, so I'd love to get your guys' take on it. Let us know in the comments, and I'll see what people are saying. All right, number 2, Michael.
Number 2, really quickly. Music Man says, "I love your stream."
Thank you. Adam, thank you, dude.
Whoa, ding.
Yeah.
Well, $20, Adam. Let's write your name. Welcome to the hood.
Yeah,
Adam, welcome to the hood. Adam Peterson. Huh?
Yeah, thank you, Adam. And while you're writing, Mike, I'll let him know number 2, which is the BMW 5 Series. The average new price is $61,000. That ain't cheap. First year resale of 7.1%. Wow, 7.1% of people actually get rid of it after the first year. That's 4.7 times higher than the average. Average used price, $50,133. Discount versus new, $18,000. 18%. And I think once again, here you've got that same thing going on where like you've got the Halo car, the M5.
Yep.
Which is not affordable nowadays.
No, it's over $100,000.
Yeah, we just had an M5. It was $125,000.
It was awesome. It was really awesome. But I could never even think about trying to buy an M5. It's so much money.
And so you buy the next best thing, right? You buy the 5 Series, but it's not an M5. It doesn't have the big-ass engine. It doesn't have the all-wheel drive, unless you get the X-Drive version, of course.
Right.
It doesn't have, you know, all that panache, and so then you've got basically this, you know, family-sized sedan, which is a very good vehicle in Germany.
Yeah.
But it's not an M5.
No, it's not an M5.
Yeah.
No.
And then let's face it, especially on some of these German vehicles, they're expensive to maintain. Even though this really doesn't come into play here because you're probably under warranty.
You're under warranty.
But maybe you're afraid of what's going to happen.
Right. Yeah, that could be. You know, maybe you have to take it to the dealership one too many times.
Before we get to number one, I'm going to tell you one more quick story.
Oh yeah, please.
My wife had a BMW X5 that she bought. We bought it certified pre-owned.
Okay.
And it had like 40,000 miles on it.
Did you get a warranty with it?
I did, certified pre-owned,
yeah. So
and first thing that happened is one of the headlights went out.
Oh.
As the headlights, guess how much that was?
$2,000.
It was $1,200 for that whole unit.
Because they had to replace the whole thing.
Yeah, and then every single one of the locks failed in the car in order. And then the worst one to fail was the driver's side one because you basically had to crawl in. Through the other side? Through the passenger side because you couldn't get in there.
That's terrible.
And each of those locks was $400.
Of course they were.
So maybe that has a lot to do with it.
That could scare people off.
All right, let's keep going. We got number one.
Number one, it's a BMW. It's German. It is the 3 Series. The average new price, $44,833. And the first year resale rate, 8%, which is pretty high. The 5 Series was 7.1%. This is 8%. So almost 1 in 10 people that buy one sell it after the first year.
Yeah, once again, not the M3. You got the regular 3 Series. And I think the moral of the story is if you want a 5 Series or a C-Class or a 3 Series, wait a year and go get it certified pre-owned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or don't, because your headlight and your door locks might fail.
Hey, for all of you truck fans out there, I had a really interesting opportunity last week to go and drive all the new TRD Pros. That includes the Tundra, 4Runner, and Tacoma.
Yeah.
And we published a Tacoma video by accident. there was a embargo until Monday. But next week on TFL Truck, on Monday, we're going to publish first the Tacoma review, where I got to go overlanding from Moab all the way to Ouray and Telluride.
It looks like a really cool trip.
Then we're going to do the Tundra.
Yep.
And then we're going to do the 4Runner, but on car, because we've been kind of putting 4Runner on car and on truck. On Monday, it's probably one of the best videos that we've ever done.
Wow.
Ian just knocked out of the ballpark.
Ian's our videographer and editor. He's amazing.
Yeah, we went up Imogene Pass, which is this pass between Telluride and Ouray, to the top, almost 13,000 feet, actually over 13,000 feet. We had the Expedition Overland guys with us.
Cool.
It was spectacular.
Nice.
And we took all 3 trucks. So the Taco review will be on truck, and the 4Runner TRD Pro review will be on car. And I'm super excited because I'm really proud of that video.
Good deal.
Ian did a great job. The Expedition Overland guys did a great job. I think you guys are really going to enjoy that. At least I hope you will. It was a spectacular trip. So thank you, Toyota. And yeah, next week is all TRD Pro. And then Nathan and I are going to, I'm going first to the Mustang Bullet.
Yeah.
So we'll have a Bullet review on car.
I'm jealous about that.
And then the Red Eye review, the Challenger.
Yep.
Red Eye.
You're going to Portland, Maine.
Yeah, Portland, Maine. So next week we're going to have the Bullet and the Red Eye reviews for you. And it's going to be a big week at TFL.
Yeah, Nathan right now is on his way to California to drive the new Miata with more horsepower.
What a boondoggle.
I know, he's driving up the California coast in a Miata, probably smiling the whole way.
With Alex on autos.
With Alex on auto. Oh, they're going to have a great time.
I would pay to be a fly on the windshield to see
I would love to see
Nathan and Alex on autos in a Miata for the next 3 days.
Oh, they're going to be so close. They are going to just know so much about each other.
Well, guys, thank you for joining us this week. And remember, come back next week when we're going to have some great reviews and not as many live shows next week because we're all gone.
We're all gone. Summer is a busy time. All the companies like to do a lot of their press trips during the summer because the weather's nice, it's predictable. So we'll be all over the place. But I think
we'll have a car show on Monday.
We'll have a car show
on Monday, and then the Talking Trucks on Thursday because Ken's coming in.
And I think we'll do a car show Friday as well. I know we'll do a car show Friday.
So Monday, Thursday, and Friday, Ken's coming in because Andrew's on vacation.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, have a great weekend. Thanks. Ciao.